A customer tossed a receipt at me and snapped, "Give me a refund," even though I clearly broke it myself. When I refused, he smirked, "You'll change your mind once I call my lawyer." I pulled out a copy of our policy, smiled, and said, "Perfect. Then he can also explain why this was already out of warranty 3 years ago." I work at an electronics store in downtown Chicago. Let's just call it Tech Haven. We're not a big box store, but we're well known around here, mostly locals, small business types, and the occasional tourist wandering in off Michigan Avenue. I've been here almost 5 years. I know how to keep my cool. I've had people scream at me, call me names, even try to slide me bribes to bypass certain return policies. None of that ever got to me. I just let it slide and move on. But this guy brought something different to the table. It was a slow Tuesday right before lunch. Weather was gross. Rainy, windy, that kind of day where everyone's grumpy before they even walk through the door. I was restocking chargers behind the front counter when the door slammed open like we owed it rent. A man, probably late 50s, comes marching straight in. Didn't glance around, didn't hesitate, just walked like he owned the place. Khakis, blazer, Bluetooth earpiece still in his ear. You know the type. He didn't even wait in line. Just came right up and slapped a crumpled receipt on the counter. "This broke," he said, like I was supposed to already know what he meant. I picked up the receipt. Dated 3 years and 2 months ago. I blinked. "Do you have the product with you?" I asked, already knowing this was about to be something stupid. He reached into his messenger bag and pulled out a device. It used to be a portable scanner. The kind small businesses use to scan inventory or barcodes. Ours are decent quality, but not immortal. This one looked like it had been through hell. The case was cracked, there were scratches all over it, and the screen was foggy like it had gotten wet at some point. "This stopped working last week," he snapped. "I want a refund." I took a deep breath. Calmly, I pointed to the date. "Sir, this was purchased over 3 years ago. Our warranty is for 1 year from the date of purchase." He leaned forward. "So? It broke. I want my money back." "I'm sorry, but it's well outside the warranty window, and based on the condition, it looks like it's been physically damaged. We can't issue refunds for items that are no longer under warranty or that show signs of misuse." He actually laughed. "Misuse? What are you, an expert?" "No, sir, but I am trained to identify damage that voids return policies." That's when his expression changed. He didn't get louder. He didn't curse. He just smirked. It was one of those smug little looks that says, "You don't know who you're messing with." "You'll change your mind once I call my lawyer," he said, as if that was the trump card. Now, most people would maybe back down or try to de-escalate. I didn't. I've dealt with people like him before, rich enough to think rules don't apply to them, loud enough to scare others into giving in. I reached under the counter and pulled out the laminated sheet we keep taped to a clipboard, our full return and warranty policy. I placed it right in front of him and pointed to the relevant line. "Returns are accepted within 1 year of purchase. Item must be in original condition." This policy is printed on every receipt and posted at the register. He didn't even look at it. He just stared at me like I was a child wasting his time. Then he said, real slow, "You're going to regret this." I know people. At that point, I was done being polite. "Perfect," I said, keeping my voice steady. "Then they can also explain why this product was already out of warranty 3 years ago." He snatched the scanner and the receipt off the counter and stormed out. On his way out, he knocked over a display stand full of phone cases. Didn't look back. I thought that was the end of it. It wasn't. 2 days later, I get called into the manager's office. She's holding a letter on actual lawyer letterhead. Apparently, Mr. Fancy had followed through. He'd contacted some small-time lawyer who sent a cease and desist claiming I had discriminated against him based on his status as a business owner. I couldn't believe it. He really was trying to lawyer his way into a refund for a broken, years-old product. My manager wasn't buying it, though. She told me not to worry. Our legal team had seen crap like this before. But I wasn't about to just sit back and wait. This guy wanted to play games? Fine. I'd play. I remembered something from our security cameras. When he came in, he never mentioned he owned a business. But on his way out, he told a customer in line that his warehouse drops stuff like this all the time. That line stuck in my brain like gum on a shoe. So I checked the footage. Sure enough, there he was, clear as day, bragging about how you just say it broke on its own and they give you your money back. Boom. I clipped that part and sent it straight to our legal team. But I also went one step further. I looked up his business. Turns out he runs a small distribution company that ships handheld scanners, barcode readers, and basic point-of-sale tech to local shops. And he had a history. I dug a little deeper. Found a Reddit thread from a year ago in a local Chicago subreddit. A bookstore owner had posted about a man who tried to return a broken scanner and then threatened to leave bad reviews when they refused. The picture? Same guy. That gave me an idea. I wrote my own post. Didn't mention names, just described the situation in detail. I posted it on r/Tales from Retail and r/Chicago. People ate it up. Hundreds of comments. Other small business owners started chiming in. Turns out, this guy had a pattern. He'd buy in bulk, use the hell out of the items, and try to return the worst ones months or years later by claiming they were defective. I updated the thread with the video stills, nothing identifying, just a man in a blazer bragging about faking returns. It didn't take long. One of the top comments was from someone who said, "Wait, he tried the same scam at our coffee shop last summer. Same story, same device." Another person said he threatened to go public with a fake lawsuit against their cousin's store. The internet did what it does best. By the end of the week, local Facebook groups, Yelp pages, and even a small business newsletter had picked up the thread. They didn't name him either, but his tactic was now public knowledge. Everyone knew about the guy who tried to con stores out of refunds with fake threats and broken junk. Still no refund from us, obviously. He came back one last time. Didn't yell. Didn't bring his lawyer. Just walked in, grabbed a business card from the front desk, and walked out. Didn't say a word. I haven't seen him since. But it's not over. Because something happened after all this blew up that made everything even messier and way more satisfying. A week after he came in and grabbed our business card, things got weird. First, our Google listing suddenly had a handful of new one-star reviews. They popped up overnight. No details, no real experiences, just vague stuff like terrible staff or scammers. We hadn't had any serious customer issues lately, and I recognized some of the usernames from my Reddit thread. A couple of them had commented defending him in the original post. Troll accounts. Probably fake. My manager, Alicia, called a meeting the next morning. She looked tired but pissed. "We're getting review bombed," she said. I reported the accounts, but someone's clearly targeting us. I knew who it was. Didn't even need to say it. Alicia nodded like she already knew too. I forwarded everything to corporate legal. In the meantime, document everything. Every call, every customer complaint, everything online. It got worse 2 days later. A package showed up. No return address. Inside was a broken scanner, just like the one that guy tried to return, but this one was literally in pieces. Someone had taken a hammer to it. Along with it was a note, printed in bold font, no handwriting. It just said, "Still think you're in the right?" That was it. No name, no threats. Just the busted scanner and that note. Alicia filed a police report, just to be safe. She also reviewed the security footage, but the box had been dropped off by delivery service. We couldn't trace it. I started getting paranoid. Every time a customer looked at me for longer than a few seconds, I wondered if it was him. Was he watching? Trying to see if I'd break? Then, something broke, but it wasn't me. I got a DM on Reddit. It was from a burner account, but the message was clear. "You think you're clever? Enjoy the fallout." I replied immediately. "You're harassing a retail worker over a 3-year-old scanner. You need help." No response after that. The same day, one of the other employees, James, got a weird call while working the register. A man asked for me by name. When James said I wasn't available, the guy hung up. Didn't ask about store hours, didn't try to leave a message. Just hung up. We started wondering, was this guy going to actually show up again? Was he just screwing with us to wear us down? But then, the twist came. Alicia got an email from a reporter at a local paper. Not one of the big ones, just one of those community business journals that covers tech stuff, new store openings, local scams. The reporter said they'd seen the Reddit post, and they were putting together a piece about customer fraud and how it affects small businesses. She wanted to interview me. Alicia looked unsure. Up to you. We can say no. But if you want your side out there, I said yes. I told the reporter everything. No names, no private info, just the full story from start to finish. The receipt, the smirk, the lawyer threat, the fake reviews, the broken scanner in the mail. 2 weeks later, the article dropped. Title was, Weaponizing Returns, How Fraudulent Refunds Hurt Local Shops. It didn't name him directly, but it quoted me, Alicia, even the coffee shop owner who'd posted on Reddit. It mentioned the review bombs, the threats, the pattern of behavior. But here's where things got really interesting. The day after the article went live, someone emailed our general store inbox using a corporate domain linked to his business. Not the man himself, but a woman with the same last name. Might have been a relative. The message was short. This is a misunderstanding. We'd like to settle this quietly. Settle what? We didn't accuse him of anything by name. We didn't dox him. All we did was talk about our own experiences, share policies, and respond to his threats. But that email meant one thing: he knew the article was about him. And now he was panicking. That should have been the end. But he wasn't done. Not even close. Because that's when something dropped in my mailbox at home. An envelope. No return address again. Inside was a photocopy of my old resume. The one I'd posted on a job board 3 years ago when I was trying to leave retail. It wasn't online anymore, but someone had saved it. There were red pen marks on it. Retail suits you better. It felt like ice down my back. He had dug up my personal info. Found my name, found my old resume, maybe even found my address. All because I wouldn't give him a refund for a broken scanner. I didn't tell Alicia this time. I went straight to the cops. Gave them everything: email, letter, package, Reddit DM, resume, envelope. They opened a file and told me to be cautious. That was it. But I wasn't going to let him scare me into silence. If anything, it made me more sure that something had to be done. He had no idea that I wasn't just some retail worker behind a counter. I had friends. Tech-savvy friends. People who knew how to follow trails online, even when someone thinks they're being clever. And when we followed those trails, we found something that changed the game. My friend Zach is an IT guy by day, borderline hacker by night. Not the illegal kind, just someone who knows how to dig. When I told him what was going on, he didn't even hesitate. He spun his chair around, cracked his knuckles, and said, "Give me everything." I sent him screenshots, the lawyer's letterhead, the burner Reddit messages, the resume envelope. I didn't expect much. I figured we'd maybe find a secondary email or a burner IP. But what Zach found was much more than that. First, he confirmed something I'd already guessed. The law office that sent the original letter? Real place, real name, but no record of that client. Zach reached out anonymously pretending to verify the document. The assistant there said, "We don't send cease and desists for retail refund disputes." So the guy forged it. Or had someone forge it for him. Either way, that letter was fake. Then Zach dug into the email from the woman with the same last name, the one who said they wanted to settle this quietly. She had used a company email linked to a tech distribution business in Oak Brook, Illinois. That matched the business the guy bragged about when we first met him. But here's the twist. That company? Technically still open. But it was under audit. Zach pulled up public business records. The owner, same last name as our guy, was listed as the CEO. But about 8 months ago, the business had been flagged for suspicious transactions. Inventory that was marked as defective kept being written off and resold under different serial numbers. There were complaints from suppliers. Lawsuits from clients claiming they were sold damaged goods as new. It clicked. That broken scanner? It was part of his scam. He wasn't just trying to get a refund from us. He was running a full-blown side hustle, buying bulk, using items in the field until they were almost trash, and then trying to push the returns back onto stores like mine. If we didn't bite, he'd lean on fake threats, legal letters, and review bombs. He wasn't mad because I embarrassed him. He was mad because I interrupted a system he'd been running for years. I sent everything Zach found to Alicia. She was stunned. We forwarded it all to corporate and the legal team. They escalated the whole thing. A week later, I was working a slow Thursday shift when two suits walked into the store. Not customers. Not vendors. Lawyers. Real ones. They asked for me. My stomach dropped, but they were polite. One introduced himself as a corporate attorney for our chain. They asked if we could talk in the office. Alicia was already there. They'd received the report and evidence we sent. They were impressed. But they weren't just there to say thanks. Turns out, this guy, let's call him Mr. Royce, had done this to at least 4 other locations in our company. Same approach every time. Broken device. Loud complaint. Legal threat. One manager even refunded him out of fear and got written up for it later. Corporate was finally building a case. They wanted me to give a formal statement and keep all correspondence related to Royce. Emails, messages, any letters. They were working with outside investigators to file a civil suit for fraudulent activity and damages. Still, something didn't sit right. Why go through all this trouble for a scanner? Why escalate over one little refund? Then I remembered the original Reddit thread. All those comments from other store owners. All those coincidences. This wasn't a one-off. This guy had done this dozens, maybe hundreds of times. If each one got him $100 here, $300 there, it added up. But what really shook me was what Zach found next. A second Reddit account. Not the burner. A real one. Years old. Same email domain used in the business. Same profile picture as Royce's LinkedIn. The account was active on multiple subreddits, r/legal advice, r/scams, even r/small business. He had been giving people advice. That's right. In between threatening employees and faking legal docs, this guy was online pretending to be a small business advocate. He posted about how to deal with unethical retailers and tricks for getting around unfair return policies. There was one post where he actually said, "Never accept no from someone behind a counter. Threaten legal action, even if you don't follow through. It's about pressure." The comment had dozens of upvotes. People were thanking him for the advice. He was building a persona. And behind the scenes, he was selling busted goods and threatening minimum wage workers who didn't fall in line. We printed it all out. Every post. Every thread. I sent it to corporate, who passed it to legal. The ball was rolling now. And then I got a call from a blocked number. I let it go to voicemail. The message? Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. You just made a very expensive mistake. Still no name. No direct threat. But it was him. I brought the voicemail to the police again. This time, they took it more seriously. There was now a digital trail, printed posts, forged documents, and now a verbal recording. It was stacking up. But the real twist hadn't happened yet. Because a month later, Royce didn't just disappear. He got arrested. Not because of me. Because someone else he scammed, someone bigger, had been quietly watching too. Royce getting arrested made the news. It wasn't front-page stuff, but it ran in the Chicago Tribune's business section. Local business owner faces fraud charges in return scheme. The article said he was accused of wire fraud, falsifying invoices, and attempting to intimidate employees of multiple stores. No names were listed beyond his, but I recognized the dates and locations. Ours was in there. The best part? It wasn't me who took him down. It was a company that supplied medical scanners to his warehouse. He tried the same trick, sent back a shipment claiming it was all defective, demanded a refund, then resold the units anyway. But that company didn't just have lawyers, they had insurance investigators. When they started pulling threads, it all unraveled. I watched the story break while sitting in the back room of Tech Haven, eating leftover pizza from someone's birthday. It should have felt like a win. And it did, for about 10 seconds. Because then I realized something that made my stomach twist. I had taken it too far. The Reddit post? Fine. The security footage? Legal. But the part where Zach and I exposed his Reddit history, where we posted about his business practices, even without naming him, that was all in a gray area. And worse, corporate wasn't happy about it. A week after the arrest, I got a call from HR. They told me that while they appreciated my initiative, I had violated media and public communications protocol. Basically, I shouldn't have talked to the reporter or published anything about the situation online without going through corporate. They weren't firing me, but they gave me a formal warning. It would go in my file. Let this be a learning experience, they said. Yeah, a learning experience. I took a scammer off the streets and got written up for it. I was mad. At them. At the company. At Royce. At myself. But it didn't stop there. Remember those burner accounts that left 1-star reviews? They were traced back to IPs tied to multiple businesses. And one of them was run by Royce's younger brother. The woman who emailed us? His cousin. It was a family operation. They'd been pulling this scam up and down the Midwest for at least 5 years. Corporate took all the evidence Zach found and passed it to the feds. Royce ended up facing not just civil suits, but criminal charges. Fraud, intimidation, tampering with business operations. It stacked up fast. At the hearing, Alicia went to testify. I didn't go. They didn't want the retail employees involved unless they had to be. But she came back with the details. Royce looked broken. The confident, smug guy who tossed a receipt at me like I was trash? He sat in court pale and quiet. His lawyer tried to argue business stress and emotional pressure. The judge didn't buy it. He got 5 years. No parole for the first 3. His businesses were shut down. Assets seized. The family didn't talk to the press. But the craziest part? Even after all that, I didn't feel satisfied. The damage he did was real. Not just to our store, but to dozens of others. He made people scared to do their jobs. He made good managers second-guess themselves. He stole money, time, and peace of mind. And me? I got caught up in the fight so deep that I forgot where the line was. I became obsessed with proving I was right. I didn't hurt anyone, but I stopped thinking about protecting myself. I still work at Tech Haven, but not on the floor anymore. They moved me to inventory and vendor logistics. Less customer contact. Probably for the best. I don't have the same patience I used to. Zach ended up getting a freelance security job out of it. Some company loved how deep he dug into Royce's mess. He thanks me for the exposure. As for Royce? Last I heard, he tried to appeal the charges. Got denied. The judge cited his consistent pattern of deception and unwillingness to take responsibility. Poetic. In the end, everyone paid for their part. Him most of all. And me? I learned that, even when you're right, the way you fight matters. Winning isn't always clean. Justice isn't always sweet. But it's better than letting people like him win. And that's enough.